Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for November 9th, 2025. At least I hope that's the date. I'm pretty sure that's the date. Anyway, so it is Sunday and my lighting is kind of off. It's really bright this morning right now coming through. I'm sure that's not going to last for long, but anyway, we're just going to go with it. Cooper is super excited to be here. He is already purring and wanting me to leave. So we're going to get this done. So this week was a pretty quiet week for me, just, working, and that's pretty much it. It was a long week, but I made it through. So my reading this week was a little strange because I DNF'd a few books. I DNF'd 3 books this week, and I don't regret any of that. Like, it's not, I DNF a lot of stuff that I don't even show you guys because I DNF it pretty early, or I don't want to, I don't care enough. But these ones are all, I got pretty far into them and then DNF'd and made decisions about certain series and stuff. So we'll go through those first, so we'll do that, and then we'll talk about the books that I read, the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. So I did have a buddy read with Berna at Berna's Bookish Adventures, and we were reading Truly, Madly, Magically by Hazel Beck. This is book 3 in the Witch Lore series. So we had issues with the first 2 books. The world building and the magic systems was fun to get to know, and because it's about a small town in Missouri on a river. This river town that deals with tourism, and the first book deals with Emerson, who doesn't believe in magic or anything like that. She is just very much her own person, and then finds out that her memories have been wiped, that she forgot that she used to know that magic existed, and things kind of happen from there. So the second book was following another character in their little friend group. And then this one was following other friends. So this one was a second chance romance. I was already leery about going into that because I always have trouble with second chance romances. I was definitely having trouble with this one with the way, with their interactions and stuff already, because they were very picky at each other. Like, even though they were in the friend group, they still would make snide remarks about the other one 10 years after they had broken up. So it's just like, it was kind of annoying. The magic, but the book, I just got to the point where I just didn't care. I was already concerned with the series because, they're all pretty much 3 stars for me. They weren't anything great. They weren't anything, that I really was excited to get back to. I was actually, when we got to this book, I was kind of dreading getting to it because I was afraid about the second chance romance. And I still think that there is a good plot in here overarching, but the problem to me will always be that this is only in one POV for the whole story, mostly. So it's like, it's them telling, it's just the one character telling the story. And in each one of them, I get angry at something, one of their fable, their things that they always do or they don't do, their flaw, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. And it's just got annoying. And I actually made it to 144 pages. So just a little past where we were supposed to read for after day 2. I tried a little bit more, and then I'm like, no, I can't do it. So I DNF'd this, and I don't really regret it. It's sad that I have to give up this series because it was a fun paranormal for a time, ish, kind of, but it was never something I really loved. Anyway, so I did DNF that one, and I made it I think it was 39% into that book, and I was like, no, we're done. And then I did also DNF The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was the first book in the Royals and Romance novels by Sarah Rash. So I bought this last year, and I tried it one day and I didn't like it, and so I put it down. And so this year I picked up the audiobook done by Ellis Evans, and I thought, well, I'll give it one more shot, because I didn't buy the rest, the other books that I know there's at least one that's come out also in this series, but it has to do with people who are royals for fairy tale, not fairy tales, for holidays. So one of the characters here is Cole, and he is a prince of Christmas. And so his father is the king of Christmas. So it's not quite Santa Claus, but like it's like a different. And then we're also following Hex, who is the prince of Halloween. And so the holidays are doing all the political things of trying to merge and saying Christmas is trying to take over all the holidays that are close to it so that they're the most important, but nobody else gets the joy of stuff. And there was a lot of good world building in here. My problem is that the main character, Cole, we only get his POV. And again, I think I've gotten to the point in romance novels that it's very rare that I love a romance novel that is one POV, because I don't like seeing the one-sidedness of this. I know that it makes more sense to someone reading maybe that we don't know what the other person is thinking, but I actually like seeing both sides. And then but my problem with this one wasn't quite that, even though that was a factor. I think mostly my problem with this is that he's just too young, and I think the story, he is a college senior and he's 22 years old. So he's, dealing with what he's going to do after college, and his father is making decisions for him. And then he is thrown into this kind of competition to get engaged to the Princess of Easter, who happens to be one of his best friends. And they are not romantically inclined towards each other. So, there's a lot of interesting things in here, but my problem was he was just so young, and his thoughts were so young. And it was, to me, even younger than a 22-year-old would be thinking. I think it's because he's privileged, and there's all this other stuff going on that, he's, gotten away with stuff for a long time, and he's made mistakes, and he does acknowledge that, but I don't know. It was annoying. The good thing about this is, again, it was a male-male romance, and it was the sexual tension, and that part was really good. Actually, that was the part that even got me to 143 pages. And so I got to 40% of this book. So I did try. I did really try, but I set it down and I knew I wasn't coming back to it. It was just, I just don't care enough to continue. So that one, another one. That one, at least this one was a library book. This one, though, I'm gonna get rid of or unhaul. And then the last one is kind of, I kind of had a feeling when I bought it. I kind of took a chance on it thinking, well, I really liked the first one, but not enough. So I did try Ghost Business by Jen DeLuca. This is the second book in the Boneyard Key series. It's a paranormal romance series. The first one, Haunted Ever After, I read a couple months ago, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. This is audiobook I listened to by Janine Shineman, I think is how it goes. Anyway, my problem with this is that we have Sophie, who lives in town and has grown up there, and she has a ghost tour business. And so it's a small town. It's a very haunted area in the Keys for Florida. And that's kind of what their whole tourism thing is based around. And in comes, there's Tristan. Tristan comes in, and he thinks because he couldn't find a digital website or some sort of hers, that there was no ghost tours there. So he had his whole business plan. He's expanding, trying to make money to pay his dad back for a loan and keep the business and stuff. And he does ghost tours in other cities and other states in the South. And he gets there, and he thinks he's going to get this thing up and running, and not really doesn't really have anything to do with the town. It's just, it's just the idea of it. For the ghost stories. And then he finds out that she has it, and they had a kind of a moment before they knew who each other was. And then we get the whole, he's going to go through with his business plan because he's kind of, has to. And, and then she is already there and already has this business, but he's trying to encroach on it and make it and do stuff. And right away, as soon as I knew it was going to happen, that they're business rivals. I knew that there was going to be stuff I didn't like. And right away, I was like this. I only got to page 56. So 6 chapters in. And I just was like, I don't care. And I was kind of upset because I really like Sophie. And I did like I would have liked to read more about this town and stuff, but I just can't do this book. And so I think I'm going to get rid of my other copy also of Haunted Ever After. It's not a series I will keep and continue at this point. If there's another book in this series, I might get that one and try it from the library, but I will not be buying any more of this series. I was so disappointed because, again, it does have a paranormal element. We hadn't quite got there. I knew that something was going to happen, but there was just, I don't know, it was the business stuff I didn't like. Anyway. Okay, so we've talked about all my DNFs. It was that kind of week. And as I said, this last couple months of the year, I'm not looking to, like, I have to read anything. Like, it's more of, I just want to enjoy my reading towards the end of the year. I don't have to hit a number. I have already read so much this year that does not even bother me what number I'm at. But I need to look at books that I've gotten or I've tried, and I'm going to actually DNF or get rid of a lot of books, unhaul a lot of books that I have had on my cart of shame by the end of the year. I think I've made some, or put them back on the shelf and just assume that I will get some at some time, but I want to clear it so I don't want to have all these books that I've started at one point and then I don't get back to. And again, I'm a mood reader. I will do this all day. Like, I will pause books and I will read a book a day, and then the next day not pick that book up, and I won't pick it up for years. So I'm going to kind of go through that. But I am being a little bit more, if I don't feel it, I don't need to keep the book and, move on. Now, what's sad about it is that I did just buy this book. I mean, the Nightmare Before Christmas I bought last year, so that's not as big a deal. But this one I bought in October. And I'm already going to get rid of it. Oh, well, whatever. Okay. We've done all that. Let's talk about the books that I did actually finish and enjoy. So I read Druid Cursed by C.J. Burright. So this is, I would say, gothic paranormal about a woman who wins this chance to win $500,000 in Ireland if she stays for this certain party by this really rich guy. And so she and her friend go, and she's had a really bad divorce, and it didn't go her way because of things that the guy lied about and stuff. So she is really desperate to get this money and to at least win something, so she can save the house. And she goes to this thing, and then right away there, that there's something about her that's reacting with what's going on at the house and with the two brothers who are running this party. And Kellen and his brother are is it 600 years? Or they're druids, and so he has been cursed because of something that happened to a witch's daughter many years before. Or for, back in the 600 years ago. So he has been trapped in this kind of cell, and he is only allowed out every decade or I don't remember, every 50 years, I think. And he gets a week out of freedom to try to break the curse, and then he has to go back. But this is the last time he has to break the curse, or he is going to be locked in that prison forever. And his brother has come up with this way he found one of the witch's descendants, which is our female character Maggie, and he has brought her to this party that he's putting on around Halloween in order to break the curse. Now, they go through different ways of how they're going to break the curse, because Kellen and Maggie are instantly attracted to each other, and then when things start coming out, it's kind of a lot of stuff going on. It is very much a spicy paranormal romance, but I really liked it. I had a lot of good fun. I thought the gothic details were really good of the setting here in this castle and manor kind of in Ireland, and it could have been anywhere. It wasn't like Irish, coded too much to me. Again, but it was just fun. I had a lot of fun with this. It is a standalone that I know of, and so I did like that I didn't have to start another series, because I start series all the time, but I really enjoyed it, and I will look for more watch for this author's, if something new comes out from them. They are technically not too like locally. I think she's from Oregon, so that was pretty cool. I didn't know that when I bought it. But this cover, the copy is so pretty. But again, this is another book I just bought in October, which will be in my book haul. But I really enjoyed this one, and I'm glad I read it. And I read it really quickly because I had to do with Hollow Weekend. I had to do a poll pick, and this is the one everybody picked for me to read, and I'm really glad they did because it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Okay, and then I, was having all those audiobook DNFs. And I started another audiobook, which I will talk about in a minute. But I did, let's see if I can get it to, I don't know why this thing. I did read The Restaurant of Lost Recipes. I can't remember their name. Hisashi Kashiwai, I think is the name. Anyway, so they, this is let's see, that's a better maybe picture of it. It's book 2 in the Komagawa Food Detectives. And it's just really kind of cute because it has to do with this father and daughter who are detectives. People come into their little restaurant and they say, I remember this food that I had at this point from this person and in this area of Japan, and they'll say, I have this memory of it. And I really want to experience that again. And they have different reasons for why they want to experience that food. And so that it's not like all happy things. It's like a lot of times it's, it's kind of sad why they want to re-experience this certain kind of food. But it's cute in the way that it talks about a certain kind of food and how it's prepared. And some of them are foods that I know about, or other ones I've never heard of. So it was kind of interesting that way. I definitely want to eat everything when I read that, when I listened to this. I listened to it at work, but it was really good. It's translated from the Japanese by Jesse Kirkwood, and the audio was done by Hanako Footman. So, which did the first book as well. So I've already asked for the third one from my library, but it is like 4 months out. So it'll be a while before I get to listen to the third one. But I did really enjoy it overall. Menu of Happiness is the third one. Anyway, so hopefully I'll get to that probably sometime next year when it comes in. But I really enjoyed it. It was just light, fluffy. It's not like a great, like the best thing I read. It was just fun. And at the time I needed something light that day to listen to at work, and it worked out. Anyway, so then I listened to Pucking Sweet by Emily Rath. This is book 3 in the Jacksonville Rays hockey series. So this again is a sports romance, and this is like one of those big chunky ones, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in here. And this is one of the ones where there are 3 people who get together, and we have Poppy, who is the PR manager for the Jacksonville Rays. And this story actually starts back to where the beginning and just kind of intersects their story, because we saw flashes of their story within the other 2 books. So it was kind of fun to get the full story when we've seen little snippets with them in the other 2 books. So, and then she is getting to know Lucas Novikov and Colton Morrow. And so they both are very different, and they're both hockey players on this team, and they're all getting together a story. It was really cute. There is unexpected pregnancy trope that it's mentioned on the back, so that's nothing. But there's a lot of stuff going on around, like before that was really interesting. What I do like about Emily Raff's romances is that you get like this straightforward kind of plot story, but there's all this stuff, their backstories, stuff that they're dealing with, stuff that comes up that they have to deal with, and it's showing how their partners in all these different kind of odd, well, not odd, I guess, not traditional relationships, how it works and how they're able to get through things by just being good people with each other. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally got to it. I know I have one more book I still haven't got to, Pucking Strong. I have asked for that audiobook as well, but that's also about 4 months out, so I'll get to it when it gets to that. But that'll probably be out time when I'm ready to read another one of these, because they are like 500 and oh, I have a bookmark still in there. 500, I think it was like 542 pages. It was really long. The audiobook narrators were Alex Kidd, Sean Kristen, and Desiree Ketchum, which I thought they all did pretty good. So, as I said, because we get all their POVs, and I just said, I really like her sports romance. So I will get to the fourth one, whenever I can available, but I really enjoyed it. I did really enjoy seeing their story, and the things that they did together are just, a lot of sexy times. Like, don't get me wrong, that is part of it, but I like the whole dealing with the world and their fame, and then also having, each other and their interactions with each other. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but I really that's what I like. It very human. I really enjoy the stories. Then I finished Secret Haven by Catherine Cowles. This is the 6th and final book in the Sparrow Falls series, and I'm so sad it's over. I picked up this series this year, and I have read the whole series, and this book just came out a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get to it when it first came out because, again, I had other things I was already reading, so... But I did pick this up, and I read this in a couple of days. I really, really enjoyed book 6. This is my favorite book of the series. I think it's because these characters we've seen through all the books, and we know that there's something about them that we don't know the whole story. And what I really liked is that we got that story of how they actually, why they're so close, but why they didn't, you would think maybe things would happen earlier, but there are reasons. And then there's all these tropes that happen of they have to do a marriage convenience. There's found family. Like, it's a group of all the books follow a group of kids that were in a foster home. And some of them were the actual kids of the couple, and then the other ones were like ones who came in through the system and were adopted or were just in their house for those years. And it's just, they're all very tight. I just love the whole family aspect of that. So it's like a found family, but kind of built around the foster system. And then this one, we're following Fallon, who works for the foster system now, and she's a caseworker, and so she has a lot of stuff on her plate, and she's dealing with stuff. And then we have Kyler, who is a very successful businessman, but he has really rough beginnings and was put into the foster system due to what happened to him. And it's just their story. I loved this from the beginning all the way to the end. This is my favorite book of the series. This was a 5-star read for me. I loved just reading this. It was hard for me to go to bed, even though I was like partway through. Like, the first night I only read a couple chapters, but then the second night I got to about a little over halfway, and I did not want to put the book down and go to bed. I was like, can I just stay up or not go to work tomorrow? And I was like, no, I gotta go to work. And then I came home on Thursday night and just sat there and read until I was done. I was like, I am not moving from this spot until I'm done. It was so good. I loved it. Now, again, these are romantic suspense. I don't think that was the highlight of this book. This highlight of this book was the relationship and just everything that they put into it, and, the stuff that had come from their past, and, how they were building towards their future. I just adored this. And again, it's definitely one of my favorite books of this year. It is so good for me. I would totally recommend this series for someone who likes romantic suspense with really good sexy times and but good relationship talks and things like that. Like, I think it was very open about that. And I really adored it. Again, the suspense part of it is not the main reason why I love these books, but I like the element of that. I've always loved mysteries, and adding that into there is really fun. So I do like them. I will definitely be picking up one of her other series. I think I have, I think it's the Lost and Found series I was going to try next. If you guys have read Catherine Cowles and there's another series I should try, let me know. That's the one I think I'm going to try next. I think the first book is Whispers of You. I think I'm going to get that here fairly soon, because I really adored this, and I want to read more of her books. And I'll definitely read anything new she comes out with. So anyway, I really enjoyed it. And then the last thing I finished this week was A History of Ancient Rome in 12 Coins by Gareth Harney. This one, my dad told, this is my dad rec that he told me to read this. So my dad and I have a tendency to read my dad reads a lot more nonfiction than I do, but we have a lot of stuff in common when it comes to history nonfiction. And so he'll show me his library books that he got, and then which ones he'll say, hey, you might like this one. And I did look at it and I'm like, I think I will like that. So I got a physical copy because there are pictures of the coins and stuff. I mean, there's like black and white, but then there's also a section in the middle that shows like the same coin, but like there's a few of them in the middle. Not a huge amount of pictures. I listened to this on audio by Piers Hampton, so I would read part of it and then I'd go and look at the pictures. But it was really good. This is a very light history. I think there's a lot of good things in here. This is a very standard talking about ancient Rome, and it's talking but it's doing it with the coins as the markers of time, and then going through the emperors from Julius Caesar and, on until the fall of Rome, kind of stuff. So it just a little bit past that, because it's talking about the coinage of past that. I really thought it was interesting, some of the history we got about all that. I mean, there was even a section on is Hannibal, right? I think when he was attacking. It was kind of interesting. But they're talking about these coins, and again, it's going through the history of and the different emperors. And there's a lot of stuff I knew. There's a couple of things I was like, I didn't know much about Marcus Aurelius, I think is his name. And I'm going to have to get his Meditations just because it sounds interesting, because he was more of a philosopher. Not that I'm a philosopher, read that, but I think it'd be kind of interesting to read that stuff. So anyway, but there was a couple things, but I think this is a good introduction if you just want an overview of ancient Rome and you're looking for something that's not super long. It's about 305 pages. It is not long. The audiobook wasn't that long. It was like a 12-hour audiobook. I think it was really well done for what it was doing. Again, it didn't cover everything, but it covered enough that you get kind of a really good overview of that. So I would recommend this if you guys are looking for a nonfiction about ancient Rome, but looking at it from the coins, and then it kind of shooting out about history. I thought it was a really good premise and stuff. And again, the guy who wrote it is really big into coins. So of course he has that knowledge. It was a good one. I'm going to have to, when I talk to my dad later today, I'll be telling him I finally got to that one. So those are all the books that I read or DNF'd this week. So what I'm in the middle of, audiobook wise, I'm listening to Road Trip with a Vampire by Jenna Levine. I don't know why I just threw those words together. The audiobook is done by Amanda Stribling. So this is the third book in the My Vampires series, it's just a cute paranormal romance series. The other two books took place mostly in Chicago, and this one starts out in California. And Griselda is a witch who is immortal, and she has some bad things in her past, and so she's kind of hidden herself away in this little coastal town. And Peter shows up, and he is a vampire, and she knows right away he's a vampire, but he doesn't remember who he is. Like, all he knows is his name because he has this notebook on him. Other than that, he doesn't have a clue who he is, what he was doing. He doesn't remember his past at all, except that he's a vampire. And so they are going on a road trip to hit some things that they find in the notebook that might help jar his memories, because somebody has sent him messages saying, hey, we're waiting for you to come to Illinois, to come to this warehouse. You need to come. And we're not paying you not to do that or whatever. But he's like, it's done in a what do you call it? A threatening way. So they want to go. And, so again, it's them on this road trip, and they don't know each other very well, but they're both, kind of hiding, or have their pasts are really getting in the way of stuff. Anyway, so I got to 204, so I'm just over halfway. So I think the book is like 380. So I'm just over. And I just listened to it a little bit this morning, but mostly I listened to it at work on Friday, and I didn't listen to anything yesterday. So because yesterday my brother and I raked leaves, and I'm starting to feel the pain. Anyway, but this is really good. This is like, again, it's just a fun vampire paranormal romance, and so I will finish this tomorrow, probably at work. But that's the audiobook I'm working on. And then physical book is I have finally gotten to God of Malice by Rena Kent. So I had a couple, I think it was Friday, and then I just didn't know what I wanted to read. I've tried several books and I'm like, oh, I don't want to read this yet. I don't want to read that. And they were all books on my TBR that I wanted to read. But I finally picked this one up and I got into it. And then I got, I read a little bit more last night. Yesterday was just not a reading day because, again, I did the leaves with my brother and then we went out for lunch. And then I came back and I think I took a nap and I don't remember. I just watched videos all day. Anyway, it's one of those things. Until the end, later in the evening, then I read about 100 pages. So I'm about 200 pages into God of Malice. Again, this is another romance that's 550 pages. Anyway, this one, we are following Glendon, and she has going through a lot emotionally with stuff going on with people in her life. And she meets Killian on this cliff, and things go badly. And then they go to school a little bit, in the next day, and he is obsessed with her. So this is a very dark romance. This is not one I would tell anybody to read. This is very much check your trigger warnings. I am like not sure how I feel about this yet. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I'm like, I still want to see where it goes. Sometimes I just think Killian goes too far, and I can totally put myself in Glendon's, like, what she's doing and not what she's feeling. Because again, we're different that way, but I meant like the way she reacts to certain things, I totally get. Like, and I know I would get in trouble. Like, this would not work for me because I would probably hurt somebody or I'd be getting hurt. It's dark. It's actually one of the darkest dark romances that I've read that's not to do with mafia stuff. Like, it has a thread of that. It just, I haven't quite got to that point, but, I'm interested. Anyway, and as I said, this is an author that I've bought multiple books of hers this year. And I had bought all of this series, and I bought a couple books, the first books in 2 other series that are connected somehow. I'm not even sure how the whole Renaverse works. But I need to start reading the books that I own by her and stop just buying them. I love all the covers, and they're all have sprayed edges, and they just look pretty, and they sound interesting. But, as I said, I'm still on the fence how I feel about this book. I really would, even if I don't like this one, in the end, I do hear you should really go on to the next one. So I'm hoping I will get to the next one. But I really am enjoying it in a way, but not loving. Yeah, as I said, I'm on the fence on how I feel. Anyway, so that is what I'm in the middle of. Usually I go, oh, well, I might read to this, or I might get to that during the week afterwards, because both of these books I should finish. I'm hoping to finish Road Trip with a Vampire tomorrow, and then God of Malice maybe Monday or Tuesday, probably. I don't know. I have 350 pages. It'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday before I finish that physically. But I don't know what I'm going to read. I don't know what I'm going to read physically next, because again, I'm very much a mood reader. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. Audiobook wise, I am doing, it's not like I'm going to show you guys. I'm just telling you, just for the fun of it, is I made a spinner wheel of 15 books that I own audiobooks for, that I also own physical books on my shelf. I think all of them. Maybe one of them I might not own physically, but I have like audiobooks that I want to get to. A couple of those are audiobooks that I have for books that were gifted to me that I definitely want to get to in the next couple months. I want to get them done by the end of the year. Other ones are just are first books in series that I am just dying to try that I just haven't got to. Many of them are fantasy romance, and I feel like I went away from that for the last couple months. As I haven't read very many, and they're just kind of piling up. So what I'm going to do is, when I finish Road Trip with a Vampire, then I'm going to spin that wheel for myself and then just see what book I pick. And again, I own them all, and I have all, as I said, I have almost all the physical copies. So it's not like I'm not going to know what I'm going to pick. I won't know until maybe after lunch on Monday what book I'm going to read next. But I'm hoping to get to a few, as I said, I have some fantasy, I have some fantasy romance, I have some paranormals, I have I do have a classic on there. So if I hit the classic, then another classic will take its place. So when I finish a book off that list or start a book off that list, then I will change it out so that when the next spin the wheel, I will just pick another book. And I have another 20 books sitting on the list that it will go into those 15. So here, the reason I'm doing this is that I wanted to read books that are off my shelf. And I have been using Libby so much over the last couple months. And I have, I've gotten through a lot of books that I owned as well. But there's a lot of books I read that were books that I don't own, that I just picked up because I could off of Libby. And so I'm trying to cut back on my Libby usage for a little bit, just so that I use the audiobook services that I pay for, and that I have books on there that I really want to get to that I already own. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to pick up. We'll see. I have quite a few. I put a couple books that I have started previously that I have to restart as well. So I kind of did a mix of that so that I can hopefully get through some books that this month that are ones that are off my shelf. And again, that's the whole point of this, is because again, I am not doing read what you own in the traditional sense of that they're doing, the one put on by Criminale. And I totally think that works for some people. I am one of those people who, you tell me I can't buy books and I will panic and go out and buy 20. So I just can't make myself participate where I can't buy books. So, but I want to focus on, as I said, getting my TBR down, because I'm still trying to hit my 50% before the end of the year. And I'm so close. I am so close. And if I can just hold off not buying too much in November, and if I read a lot off my shelf, I could really almost hit my 50% sometime in December. I think 50% of my books read on my in my house. That's my goal. I really would like to hit that. I'm not saying I will, but I'm going to try. And I'm just not sure how that's going to go. So anyway, that's kind of just a little aside. I don't know. We'll see. I just said, I'm even trying to think of maybe I could use the spinner wheel and film a shelf by shelf with that. And just again, it's not quite the same concept, so probably not. I don't know. I still need to do one more episode of that. Hopefully, as I said, end of November, early December at this point, but we'll see. I don't know. I'll come up with something. Or if you have any suggestions, if you don't mind that I just use a spinner wheel and that's my shelf even though it's the stuff on that is mostly on my TBR shelf. But I would be getting books off my shelf. So I don't know. Let me know. Anyway, other than that, how are your guys' reading going? Again, mine was a up and down week. Beginning of the week was not very good, and then really good at the end. So I will take that as a win. And we will see what the next week brings, because most of my pre-orders are already coming in for November. I don't have that many pre-ordered in November, and I have 2, I think, in December. So really, I'm not bringing as many books in right now, but I need to take back, I still need to sell or try to sell some books to pals, and I just need to make myself go and do that. So maybe next weekend. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys are reading something good, or if there's anything going on you want to tell me, let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.